This is your teacher Gwen from Boyan National High School. Welcome to the second quarter of Earth and Life Science, in which we will be exploring the wonderful world of biology. Are you all excited? Great! Before we begin, make sure you have the following. First is your module, of course. The second one is your answer sheet. And of course, your pen. Get ready? Welcome to quarter 2. We are now at our 21st module, which is all about the evolving concept of life based on the emerging pieces of evidence. Our first lesson is all about the historical development of the concepts of life. Are you excited? Here are our objectives. After going through this lesson, you are expected to identify the sequence of events of the history of life on Earth. Second objective is name the pieces of evidence on the evolution of life on Earth. The third one is recognize the importance of knowing the history of life on Earth. Are you ready? Let us see what you already know. This part includes an activity that aims to check what you already know about the lesson to take. Thoughts blast off. I will only pose 5 questions. You ready? The first question is dinosaurs or reptiles that existed for a very long time. Which era did these organisms evolve? A. Cenozoic era, B. Mesozoic era, C. Paleozoic era, D. Proterozoic era. Whew, that's such a tongue twister. What could be the answer? Mesozoic era. I hope you got it correctly. The second one is, what are the photosynthetic organisms that grow well on Earth? The answer is cyanobacteria. Correct. The third question is, which types of organisms were developed first due to the early environmental conditions of Earth? Letter A, eukaryotic and aerobic, B, eukaryotic and anaerobic, C, prokaryotic and aerobic, D, prokaryotic and anaerobic. The answer is nothing but correct. Prokaryotic and anaerobic. The fourth question is, what are called the remains of living organisms that used in understanding the history of life on Earth? A. Bone, B. Fossils, C. Seeds, D. Shells. The answer is nothing but fossils. Number 5. Over the past decades, there are challenges that the environment has been facing. Pandemics affected the lives of various of living organisms, including us. What is the significance of knowing this history? A. It will give an idea on how medical world will seek for the treatment. B. It will give medical practitioners an income. C. It will lead scientists to know the history of life. D. They will just be informed about it. The correct answer is letter A. Of course, it will give an idea on how medical world will seek for treatment. Did you do it perfectly? Awesome! You did a very good job. Now let's proceed. And now you're ready to learn. Now let's do what's in. This is a brief drill to help you link the current lesson with the previous one. Good luck! Now let us do activity 1. My Life Timeline. It is on page 4 of your module. What you're going to do is very simple. Picture out a history of your life. Create a timeline that will reflect the different events that happened to you in the past. Don't forget to answer the guide questions. The first one is, what is a timeline? Then, Why is timeline significant? Write your answers on your answer sheets. Do not forget to pause the video if you want to finish your activity. Now let us proceed to what's new. In this portion, the new lesson will be introduced to you in various ways. Now we're going to do the activity 2, Timeline of Events. It's on page 6 of your Mojo. What you're going to do is simple. Read and analyze the timeline. Arrange the following pictures in order. Write number 1 to 6 under each picture to show the order of appearance of life forms on Earth. Are you ready? You can pause the video and read the timeline quietly. Are you ready to answer? Turn to page 7 of your Mojo. Write number 1 to 6 under each picture to show the order of the appearance of life forms on Earth. Now let us check your answer, which is based on the timeline provided. First is the picture of a volcanic eruption, which formed the zircon crystals. Can you guess the next one? The second one is the appearance of the green algae. The third one is the appearance of eukaryotes. The fourth one is the picture with cephalopod and trilobite. The fifth one is the picture with the dinosaurs. And lastly, the sixth is, of course, the appearance of humans. Have you answered it perfectly? Very good. Now let's proceed to activity 3. The evidence of life. It is still on page 6 of your Mojo. The direction is simple. You're going to give an evidence on the given events that occurred on geologic timescale. That enables the paleontologists to sequence the history of life. We have the Hadean, the early Earth development. The next one is Archean, period of appearance of the first prokaryotes. The next one is Proterozoic Eon, the period of appearance of the first eukaryote. The next one is Paleozoic era, dominance of appearance of trilobites. Then the Mesozoic era, dominance of dinosaurs. The last one is the Cenozoic era, recent life. What are the evidences? Did you answer it all correctly? If you haven't yet, you can pause the video. But if you have, we can now proceed to check the answers. The first one is the zircon crystals. It is the evidence for the Hadean period. The next one for the Archean are the stromatolites. For Proterozoic Eon, it's the biomarkers. For the Paleozoic era, it's the trilobite fossils. Next is for the Mesozoic era, the dinosaurs. And the last one for the Cenozoic era, the Homo erectus. Now we're done with activity 3. I hope you have done it all successfully. Now let's proceed to activity 4. It's a match. It is found on page 7 of your Mojo. This is what you're going to do. In column A are the evidences, while the column B refers to the certain timeline. Match them writing the letter of your answer on the space provided before the number. You can write your answers on a separate sheet. On column A is the Homo erectus, eukaryotes, zircon crystal, dinosaur, and trilobite fossils. For column B, it's 4.3 billion years ago, 2.0 billion years ago, Mesozoic era, 250,000 years ago, and the Cambrian period. You can pause the video if you needed time to answer the activity. Now let us answer activity 4. It's a match. Number 1. What would be the specific timeline for Homo erectus? Letter D. 250,000 years ago. Number 2. For the eukaryotes. What would be the specific timeline for the eukaryotes? It's letter B. It happened 2.0 billion years ago. Number 3. Zircon crystal. Where would it be in a timeline? It's on 4.3 billion years ago. Number 4. Dinosaurs. Letter C. It's Mesozoic era. And for number 5, the trilobite fossils, it's letter E. It would be on the Cambrian period. Now let us do the activity 5. It is found on the page 7 of your module. The direction is simple. Name the pieces of evidence on the evolution of life. Write your answer on the space provided. Pick your answer from the terms inside the box. What are the words inside the box? Zircon crystal, first eukaryotes, stromatolites, multicellular organisms, trilobite fossils, first prokaryotes, cyanobacteria, and Homo erectus. Write your answer on the answer sheets. We are going to answer the activity after a short break. It's break time! Now is a good time to get up and stretch. You can eat some snacks or drink a glass of water. Make sure you have some time to relax. Now we're back. Let us check all of your answers for activity 5, name it. For period 4.6 to 3.6 billion years ago, the evidences or organisms are zircon crystals. 3.5 billion years ago, stromatolites. 3 billion years ago, cyanobacteria. 2 billion years ago, first eukaryotes. 1.2 billion years ago, multicellular organisms. 500 million years ago, trilobite fossils. And 250,000 years ago, Homo erectus. I hope you got it all correctly. Now let's proceed to what is it? This section provides a brief discussion of the lesson. This aims to help you discover and understand new concepts and skills. The universe. The universe is about 4.6 billion years old. Life on Earth probably began only 3.5 and 4 billion years ago. These are evidences from fossil records. Fossils show the emergence of the different life forms. The common ancestor of all life was prokaryotic. Since oxygen was scarce on the early Earth, the ancestral cells must also have been anaerobic, meaning they don't need oxygen to live. The tectonic plate movements have destroyed nearly all rocks older than about 4 billion years old. This is why, at present, the oldest cell microfossils or microscopic fossils are filaments from 3.5 billion-year-old rocks in Western Australia. Take a look at this picture. The filaments resemble chains of modern photosynthetic bacteria, and the rocks in which they occur are the remains of ancient stromatolites. The researchers look for biomarkers specific to each eukaryote. A biomarker is a substance that occurs only or predominantly on cells of a specific type. Eukaryotes are organisms having true nucleus. DNA is enclosed within the nucleus, whereas DNA of most prokaryotes lies enclosed in cells. The first prokaryotes were protists. For life to evolve from simple single-celled organisms to many millions of species, of prokaryotic species, to simple eukaryotic species, to all protists, fungi, plants, and animals, took some time. The first life forms were very basic. This then allowed for the evolution of more complex life forms. Eukaryotic cells evolved from prokaryotic cells. Take a look at the picture. The evolution of life is brought about by the changes in the environment, which are linked to changes in climate and geology. Let us proceed to Activity 6, Arrange Me. It is found on page 9 of your module. What you're going to do is, from the given statements, arrange them to show the origin and the evolution of eukaryotes. Number them from 1 to 8. 1 is the earliest. You may pause for 3 minutes to answer. Are you done? Now let us answer. Letter D is number 1, letter A is 2, letter B is number 3, letter G is number 4, number 5 is letter F, number 6 is E, 7 is C, and the last one is the modern life and modern organisms related by descent. Now let's proceed to what's more. This comprises of activities for independent practice to solidify your understanding and skill of the topic. You may check the answers to the exercises using the answer key at the end of the module. Now let's go to Activity 7, Time to Reveal. It is found on page 10 of your module. The direction is again very simple. What you're going to do is arrange the jumbled words to reveal the evidence in the history of life on Earth. Write your answer on a space below the grid. Please be guided. The following description are your clues in jumbling the words. Write your answer on your answer sheet. You can pause the video so that you have more time to answer. Okay. What are the answer? Number 1 is trilobite. The second one is Homo erectus. Third one is prokaryotes. And the fourth one is dinosaurs. The last one are eukaryotes. Very good. I think you're making a progress. Now we're on Activity 8. The origin of life. It is still found on page 10 of your module, and the direction is again very simple. You create a concept map that will discuss how life originated and evolved based on the emerging pieces of evidence using the concept inside a box. Don't forget to still write your answers on your answer sheets. What are the words? We have the history of life, eukaryotic cell, prokaryotic cells, stromatolites, fossils, variation among organisms, molecular DNA, adaptation, photosynthesis, scarcity of oxygen, biomarkers, and organic manures. Now let's proceed to Activity 9, TMG. It is found on page 11 of your module, and these are the directions. The Earth's history is marked by a series of transformations, mass extinctions, and geological changes that have taken place over the course of 4 billion years. Place the given events on the corresponding time it occurred. What you're going to do is place the given events on the corresponding time it occurred. Don't forget to write your answers on your answer sheets. Break time! Now is a good time to stretch and do something like resting and drinking water or eating some snacks. We are still on the 21st module, which is all about the evolving concepts of life based on the emerging pieces of evidence. And we are back. Do you have questions so far? Let us check your answers on Activity 9. For transformations, we have the evidence of life, oldest fossils, first evidence of soft-bodied animals, the Cambrian explosion, first land plants and fish, first mammals and dinosaurs, first birds, first hominids, modern humans. For mass extinctions, it is the formation of great oceans, continents begin shifting, Rodinia supercontinent breaks up, Pangaea supercontinent breaks up, inland seas dries up, and the sixth is the global ice ages. For geologic changes, 50% invertebrate genera, dinosaurs and 60 to 80% of all species, 25% of marine invertebrate families, many woodland plant-eating herbivores took place. We are now done about the activity of the Earth's history. You are now ready to set for more learning opportunities. Isn't it exciting? It is the Activity 11, the sequence of events. It is found on page 12 of your module. The direction is very simple. What you're going to do is, what you're seeing is some key events that happened in the past. Create a timeline that will show the sequence of events of the history of life. Use the information below as your guide. You may just use the keywords as part of your timeline. Don't forget to still write your answer on your answer sheet. Now let us check your answers. If you're not done, you can pause the video. For number 1, we have the prokaryotes, which happened 3.5 billion years ago. The simple eukaryotes, which happened 1.6 to 2.1 billion years ago. Animals, sponges, happened during 665 million years ago. Charnia, 560 million years ago. Land plants, 416 to 359 million years ago. First mammals, Eosostrodon, is 210 million years ago. And on the 7th, Homo sapiens, 2.3 to 2.4 million years ago. That is all for the Activity 11, Sequence of Events, Activity Answers. I hope you have done it all correctly. Now let's proceed to what I have learned. This includes questions or blank sentence, paragraph to be filled in to process what you have learned from the lesson. You're now ready to set for more learning opportunities to do the Activity 13, Complete Me. It is found on page 13 of your module. The direction again is very simple. What you're going to do is complete the paragraph by filling in the blanks with the correct word from the box. The words are stromatolites, human beings, 4.6 billion years ago, Cenozoic, Earth, Ocean, Zircon crystal, Mesozoic era, 3.0 billion years ago, and Homo erectus. You can pause the video to answer. Now let us check your answer. Have you done it perfectly? Fabulous! About 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth was formed as the solar system came into existence with other planets rotating around the Sun. Earth is said to be geologically violent because of the continuous bombardment of meteorites and volcanic eruptions. With this condition, minerals were formed from the elements and compounds contained in the molten material. The oldest material found on Earth is the zircon crystal, that is estimated to be 4.3 billion years old. Life on Earth is believed to begin 3.5 billion years ago with single-celled prokaryotes, as discovered in sedimentary rock formations called stromatolites. As early as 3.0 billion years ago, the first photosynthetic organism thrived the Earth, which is blue-green algae called cyanobacteria. It was 2 billion years ago when the first eukaryotes appeared and the influx of multicellular organisms occurred 1.2 billion years ago. During the Paleozoic era, which lasted 542 to 251 million years ago, the Cambrian and the Ordovician period has been known as the Age of Invertebrates, when the trilobites and the cephalopods became dominant in the ocean. The Mesozoic era is the age of reptiles that has the span of 251 to 65.5 million years ago, divided into Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous period. Cenozoic is the era of recent life, and based on paleontological evidence, Homo erectus have evolved 250,000 years ago. Human beings are only surviving species and one of the living evidences that life has existed on Earth. Have you done it all perfectly? Fabulous! Now let's proceed to What Can I Do? This section provides an activity which will help you transfer your knowledge or skill into real-life situations or concerns. The direction is, you may pick one of the questions to answer in this area. Number 1. If multicellular organisms arise from unicellular organisms, can you tell all the species or organisms are related with one another? Why do you think so? Number 2. If you are one of the environmentalists and was assigned in one of the forests in the Philippines, which happened to be the location of some endangered species, what are the plans that you would organize to ensure the conservation of the species of the flora and fauna present in your assigned area? Write a short poem that will discuss the importance of knowing the concepts of history of life to human beings and other living organisms. Reminders. Do not forget to answer activity 10 and 12. The answers on these activities vary depending on each student. You can ask your teacher for your queries. Activity 10 is all about extinct flora and fauna. And Activity 12 is Why should I study the history of life?
which is more on reflection. Now for the assessment. It is found on page 15 of your module. Read the following question and choose the letter of your best answer. Write the chosen letter on a separate sheet of paper or on your answer sheet, of course.
This would be the end of our lesson in Module 21, the evolving concept of life based on the emerging pieces of evidences. I hope you have learned a lot from this lesson. Make sure that you have written all the important details in your answer sheets. If you have more questions, please do not hesitate to ask your teacher, or you can write it down on your answer sheets. Once again, this is John Rodis Bolante, your teacher in Earth and Life Science. See you on the next lesson. Bye.